Hello, everyone, and good morning. My name's Don Arleth, and you're watching World Talks, coming to you live from Warsaw. In Budapest, tens of thousands rallied on Sunday against Prime Minister Viktor Orbán, using public money for political campaigns that misled voters and fuel hatred. Organizers said that around 50,000 people filled Heroes Square in one of the largest protests this year. Demonstrators criticized Orbán's state-funded information campaigns, which have cost millions of euros since he returned to power in 2010. And now joining us here on World Talks to discuss is Zoltán Tarr, Hungarian MEP from the European People's Party. Hello, and thank you so much for joining us on World Talks.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
Yes, now Sunday's rally drew tens of thousands of people accusing Viktor Orbán's government of using taxpayers' money to spread divisive messages. Now, from your perspective, how do these state-funded information campaigns affect Hungary's democracy and the trust of voters?
Well, this occasion on this huge event was not organized by us, but by some civil society members, and that shows very clearly that people in Hungary are fed up with the state-led and state-financed propaganda. One of the cornerstones of Orbán's regime is the very centrally managed public media, as well as influencing media as such. And that is one of the very strong components of how and why Orbán manages to keep up his regime. And this idea of influencing people via media is one of the so-called innovations of the Orbán regime, which he tries to sell and give to other autocratic regimes around the world.
Right now, for some of our viewers, can you please shed some light on what these campaigns look like and, how are they enacted by the government? And maybe some examples.
Sure. Well, first of all, you must understand that in Hungary, practically the media is not free anymore. There is only one medium stands alone as a television channel, which is not yet owned by people related to the regime. And there are 3-4 online newspapers which are existing in a very difficult way outside of the regime. They are under complex and very strong oppression every day, and there is no way that messages, for example, the message what we would like to tell people would reach people. The government owns all the newspapers, for example, which can reach to the countryside. They also own all the public communication channels, including television, radio, and they spread their own messages. Just to give you an example, 2 weeks ago, they fabricated a total lie using a document which is fabricated and is not from us, not from the TISZA party, the main opposition party, expressing that we are planning to raise income taxes. And in the contrary, we are planning to lower income tax if we come to power, hopefully the next election. And they are spreading this false negative news about us every day. Now they are distributing 4 million flyers to the people of Hungary to tell their lies about us. This is very difficult to fight against, and that's what this Sunday demonstration really was criticizing, that this immense power of public false information spreading that is really making people sick and makes a huge divide within the society by creating hostility and anger.
Now, the leader of your party, Peter Magyar, has become a central figure in the opposition space. How do you assess his role and the impact on mobilizing voters? And I say this because I was in Budapest covering the last elections back in 2022. There was grand hope for a better opposition showing. However, it didn't materialize.
I think what we can see in the media, that the false media and the propaganda is spreading so rapidly and so forcefully, that clearly shows again that now there is a real opposition. led by Peter Magyar. The government and the parties which are giving the government, Fidesz and the Christian Democrats, they are really afraid of Peter Magyar, and they are really afraid of our party, TISZA party, the main opposition party. And what they are trying to do is they are trying to flood people with false information. And just another very important aspect to the whole issue is that what we are using to communicate to people is social media. And you probably know that there are main changes coming up in the coming weeks, actually. And in fact, YouTube just introduced one of these major changes today, that there will be no possibility anymore to make political advertisements on social media. It's not that we are doing that very often, but that is one thing which was our channel to the people. And we, of course, don't have that much money, which the government has, just to tell you to smear me and to spread false information about me. The government spent several million euros on social media to spread false news just about my personality. And that's what they are doing in billions about Peter Magyar and about our party. So he really shaked up the political atmosphere in Hungary, and we really trust that people will be able to look through and look behind what the propaganda is telling, and will be ready to vote for change next year.
Right, considering that there are still 202 days left until those elections, just how difficult will it be for your party, for TISZA, to maintain the momentum that it already has and improve upon that? Because it sounds like you're going to have millions and millions of euros spent against you trying to convince Hungarians otherwise.
Absolutely. And I think what the viewers must understand, that Hungary, though it looks like a democratic country, this is not a democratic country anymore. So what you imagine that you could do in a country, talking about things freely and so on, and doing things what would be normal to do, that is really requires huge bravery from the side of the people who come to vote for change, to go for change, to do things against this regime. People who even raise their voice, they get fired from their working place. Families of those who are working with us, they are also under big scrutiny. So this is really an oppressive, autocratic regime, which really does not shy away to spend huge amount of money, every money they have, on propaganda against us. That shows clearly, I think, that the strength of the people is really coming up, and there is a strong and realistic hope that next year there will be a change after the election.
Now, I think I know what you're going to say, but Orbán's administration obviously claims that they have different polls where Fidesz is still more popular than TISZA. What is your comment to that?
Well, I mean, to tell you the truth, I mean, obviously we don't have to be, it's not, the polls that we have to win. We have to win the election. And what we know, I mean, there are very few independent pollsters in Hungary, but they all say that we are above 50% if there would be an election, for example, at the end of this week. It's very hard to tell, because people are very, very afraid of telling what they really think and what they really believe. Just to tell you how important for Orbán the polls are, they are now trying to involve in this whole pollster game their allies from the US, from other Western countries, actually allies whom they are funding from money from Hungary, so that they are trying to influence people in Hungary by using Western pollsters and Western so-called professionals, telling about how strong Fidesz is and how not true those polls are, which are bringing us ahead of Fidesz. According to trusted sources, we have a 10-12% gain on Fidesz in these days, and we hope that we will be able to keep that up until the election.
All right, well, we'll be keeping a close eye on this. Zoltán Tarr, Hungarian MEP from the European People's Party, as well as TISZA. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Bye.
And that concludes this edition of World Talks. Thank you for joining us and stay with us for more here on TVP World.